I'll be discussing the MMPI Scale 7 Psychiatry.
Antisocial psychopathy and
So, any guesses what does this scale measures?
Obsessive compulsive disorder.
So, basically the scale was constructed primarily keeping it focused for patients showing obsessive worries, compulsive rituals and exaggerated fear. The scale then was used for diagnostic purposes, but now a contrary label that is used for this scale is obsessive compulsive disorders. So all the 48 items which were originally presented in this scale are maintained in MMPI-2. So some of the items in this scale deal with uncontrollable obsessive thoughts, feelings of fear and anxiety, doubts about one's own ability, and unhappiness. Physical complaints, difficulties in concentrations are also represented in this scale. So, what is obsessive compulsive disorder? Obsessive compulsive disorder is defined by the presence of both obsessive thoughts and compulsive behavior. Obsession are presented by recurrent intrusive thoughts, images, impulses that are experienced to be disturbing and inappropriate, uncontrollable. And people who have obsessive thoughts try to suppress them by performing compulsive actions. So, what is compulsion? Compulsion involves overt repetitive behaviors, for example, performing lengthy rituals, including washing hands, constantly arranging things, or checking on to things around you. And compulsion may also involve covert mental rituals such as praying and saying certain words silently over and over again. So a person with OCD usually feels compelled and driven to perform compulsive ritual behavior in response to an obsessive thought. The compulsive behaviors are performed, as I said, for the goal of preventing and reducing distress caused by the obsessive thoughts. OCD is one of the most disabling mental disorder which leads to a lower quality of life. So, in DSM-5, the OCD was categorized under anxiety disorders. In ICD-10, OCD was classified separately from anxiety disorder, but under a larger category of anxiety disorder, named as neurotic and stress-related disorder. So, why is OCD no longer considered to be an anxiety disorder in DSM-5? Another slide.
what is the name of the classification that is given to OCD? अभी आपने बताया
Yeah, it
क्या
is
बताया?
obsessive compulsive and related disorder.
ठीक है और इसके अंदर और कौन कौन से ऐड हुए OCD के अंदर टिलियोफेलिया ये सब आपने बताया इसके OCD के अंदर जो जो उनसे हैं मतलब रिलेटेड डिसऑर्डर कौन से हैं उससे वो आपको पता होना चाहिए ठीक है वो ऐड कर लेना
Yeah, I will. So, what is the reason that why OCD is not considered to be an anxiety disorder in DSM-5? There were certain changes made. So, it was removed from the category of anxiety disorder and placed into a new category called obsessive compulsive and related disorders. So, one reason for OCD being moved to another category is that anxiety is not generally used as an indicator of severity of the OCD. Like to what an extent a person is obsessed and compelled to perform a disorder cannot be decided by the level of anxiety it causes. Another noted reason is anxiety occurs in wide range of disorders. So the presence of some anxiety is not a valid reason to regard OCD as an anxiety disorder. The neurobiological underpinning of OCD and anxiety disorder are far different from each other. Other anxiety disorder responds to a wide range of medication and treatment, but OCD only responds to selective SSRIs. Indeed, as Stein mentioned, the highly stereotype-driven, repetitive, non-functional quality of compulsive behavior differentiates OCD from normal acts and from types of avoidance that occurs in anxiety disorder. Next slide. So here is the DSM-5 criteria for anxiety disorders. First, the presence
OCD
of
disorder not
sorry,
anxiety
obsessive compulsive disorder. So first is presence of obsession. It can be defined by one or two, as it's mentioned there, recurrent and persistent thoughts, urges, and images that are experienced during the time of disturbance as intrusive and unwanted, and the most individual are marked by anxiety and distress. The individual attempts to ignore, suppress these thoughts, urges, and images, and neutralize them with performing compulsive actions. Compulsion can be defined by one and two. Repetitive behavior, for example, washing hands, ordering or checking things, and mental acts as counting and praying, or saying words repetitively, silently. That the individual feels driven to perform in response to an obsession according to the rules that must be applied rigidly. Like they won't be like, I'll be performing today 5 times and tomorrow 10 times. Like they're bound to perform it a specific number of times. That is the rigid rule, that you have to be, it has to be disturbing and you have to perform it constantly to reduce the distress caused by the obsessive thought. Second says the behavior or mental acts are aimed at preventing or reducing anxiety and distress, or preventing some event or situation. However, these behaviors are mental acts and are not connected to the realistic environment around them. Like I might feel, if I have been diagnosed with OCD, I might feel an urge to place everything in a symmetry, whereas people around me in my surrounding might not find it irritating or distressing. Note, young children may not be able to articulate, aim these behaviors as mental acts. B. The obsession and compulsion is time consuming, that it takes at least more than 1 hour a day of your time and cause clinically significant distress and functional impairments, whether it's in occupational setting or the social setting. C. The obsessive compulsive symptoms are not attributed to psychological effects of substance, for example, alcohol abuse or medication or any other prevalent medical condition. So I cannot connect the symptoms of arranging something in a symmetry to existing medical condition or any other psychological disorder, which is discussed in another point. The disturbance is not better explained by symptoms of another mental disorder, for example, excessive worries as an indicator of generalized anxiety disorder. So my tendency of arranging things or counting or washing hands constantly cannot be related to any other existing disorder, as I mentioned. Thank you.
Okay.